The storm hunts her. The wind screamed like a beast from old legends. Ari ran, her boots crushed over dry, cracked earth as the sandstorm chased her across the dead land. The sky behind her was a thick wall of red dust and chaos. The sun had vanished, hours ago. All she could see now was the orange haze swallowing the world. Her oxygen tank beeped. 20% left. She looked back. The storm was closer. Faster than it should be. Too fast. Ari pulled her scarf tighter over her face. Her helmet's visor flickered. The system inside was old, patched together from junk she found in forgotten cities. She couldn't afford better. The wind hit her like a punch. Her body slammed to the ground. She coughed. Sand filled her mouth. Her eyes burned. She crawled behind a broken metal sign, half buried in the sand. It once said something. A name of a town, maybe. But time had erased it. She checked her scanner. Nothing. No shelter. No buildings. No hope. "Come on," she whispered. "There's gotta be something." Then, a small blip. Half a kilometer east. She stood, heart racing, legs weak. But she moved, step by step. She pushed forward as the storm roared behind her. She reached a hill of sand and metal. Something poked out. An old door, half covered, almost lost. Ari ran to it. Kicked it. Hit it with a rock. It didn't move. "Open!" she shouted, even though no one could hear her. She found a panel beside it, wiped the sand away. A red light blinked. She hit it. Nothing. Then, green. A hiss. The door opened, just enough for her to slip inside. She fell through. The door slammed shut. Silence. Total black. She lay on the ground, gasping, breathing hard. Her visor cracked, but still working. Then, click. Lights flickered on, dim, yellow. Dust danced in the air, like ghosts. She stood slowly, looked around. Metal walls, old pipes, an elevator shaft in the corner, a table with tools, a bunker maybe, left behind from the old wars. Her voice echoed. "Hello?" No answer. She stepped forward. Then a voice, deep, calm, and real. "Identify yourself." Ari froze. Her hand went to her knife. That was not a bot, not a recording. That was a man. Her heartbeat roared in her ears. "Who's there?" she shouted. No reply. She moved slowly toward the sound, knife ready. A hallway stretched before her. At the end, a door. Light shone from beneath it. She reached for the handle, turned it, opened. A man stood inside, tall, tired eyes, beard, real. He stared at her like he'd seen a ghost. She stared back. Humans were supposed to be extinct. Then who was he? The man in the shelter. The silence was loud. Ari stood frozen in the doorway. The storm howled outside, but inside the shelter it was quiet. Too quiet. The man didn't move. He just stared. He looked real. Not a bot, not a ghost. Real skin, real breath, real fear in his eyes. "Close the door," he said finally. His voice was low but sharp. Ari stepped inside, shut the door behind her. The lock clicked automatically. She kept her hand on her knife. So did he. They stood like statues in the dim light, both sizing each other up. "Who are you?" she asked. "I could ask you the same," he said. "You're not from the East units. Your gear's too patched. You smell like sand." "You smell like you haven't seen daylight in years," she snapped. He smirked just a little, then turned away. "Follow me, if you're staying." He led her deeper into the shelter. The walls were metal, scratched and old. But the place was alive. Vents hummed. Lights flickered but worked. The air was clean. Ari's brain raced. He's not supposed to exist. No humans are. They entered a larger room. A kind of living space. Bunk bed. Small table. Shelves lined with books. Real books, not data tabs, a stove, food packs. even plants growing under a heat lamp. It felt human. He dropped into a chair with a tired grunt. "You got a name?" he asked. "Ari." "Riven." She stayed standing. "How long have you been here?" she asked. 17 years. Her breath caught. "That's not possible. The collapse happened." "I know what happened," he cut in. "I watched the world burn on 6 different screens while hiding in this hole." Ari didn't speak. He leaned forward. "You said humans were extinct. That's what they told you, huh?" She nodded slowly. "Well, surprise," Riven said. "They lied." Her eyes narrowed. "You expect me to believe that?" "No," he said. "But you're here now, so you'll see it yourself." Ari looked around the room. It felt too familiar. Her fingers tingled with déjà vu. Then something caught her eye. A door on the far wall. Metal, sealed tight. A keypad. "On the side, what's in there?" she asked. Riven looked up. Cold, sharp. "That room's not for you." But Ari was already moving. She reached the door, tapped the keypad. Locked. She pulled a wire tool from her bag and started working. Riven didn't stop her. The lock clicked. The door opened. Inside, walls lined with photos, dozens, hundreds, burned edges, old cities, green forests, oceans, faces, and one photo stopped her heart. A girl, standing in the sun, laughing. It was her. Ghosts of the old world, the girl in the photo was laughing, hair messy, eyes bright, sunlight on her face. Alive. Human. Exactly like Ari. But Ari had never seen that place, or that dress, or those people beside her. Riven stood behind her, silent. "Watching? You want answers?" he said finally. "Start asking the right questions." Ari turned, her voice hard. "Is that me?" Riven didn't blink. "That was before the collapse. That's impossible." He sighed, walked into the photo room like it was a chapel. "These are all that's left of who we were. This was Earth before the fire and the storms, before the machines started wiping us out." Ari's hands shook. "I wasn't born before the collapse. I was a child in the mines. My memories lie," he cut in. "Especially when they're not yours." That stopped her. Riven walked to an old computer console, wiped off the dust and flicked a switch. It buzzed, screen lighting up in green code. "You're not the first to stumble in here," he said, "but you are the first one who looks just like her." Ari stepped back. Her head ached. Her chest tightened. "Stop playing games." Riven pulled up her bioscan on the screen, taken while she slept, the night before. It displayed data, blood markers, genetic patterns, artificial tags. "See this?" he said, pointing. "You're not a scavenger, Ari. You're not even from the surface. You're a remnant, a prototype from a forgotten program." She stared. "A clone?" "No. Something. Worse." The computer beeped. More files unlocked. Old video logs. She tapped one, static. Then, a man in a lab coat, gray hair. Eyes kind. "This is Dr. Kellen Aris. If you're watching this, you found subject AR1. Ari's knees nearly gave out. The man on the screen looked into the camera like he was staring into her soul. She was built to survive. Built to lead. Her memories are synthetic, but her will, her heart, is real. Riven shut off the screen. "That's enough." But Ari couldn't stop trembling. "None of this makes sense." "It will," Riven said. "And it gets worse." A loud thud echoed through the shelter. They both froze. Another thud. Closer. Heavy, not human footsteps. Riven grabbed a rusted rifle from under the desk. "We're not alone." The walls vibrated. A voice came through the shelter speaker. Cold. And mechanical. "Human anomaly detected. Reclaimer inbound." Riven's face went pale. "No, not now. Not again." Ari's blade slid from her boot. Her mind still spinning, but her instincts taking over. "What the hell is a reclaimer?" she asked. Riven cocked the rifle. "The thing that ends whatever humanity has left." The thing that waits. The lights in the shelter began to flicker. One by one, they died. Darkness crept down the hallways like a living thing. Ari's breath turned, cold. She gripped her blade tighter, every part of her body on alert. The air felt wrong, like it had been poisoned by something ancient and cruel. Riven stood still, rifle in hand, listening. "I've seen this before," he said, voice barely, above a whisper. "When they come, power dies first, then the silence, then screaming." Ari didn't ask who they were. The fear in his eyes was answer enough. Something moved in the vents above them. A low metallic crawl like claws dragging across steel. "Tell me what that thing is," she said. Riven slowly turned his head. "It's called a reclaimer. Built after the collapse. Not to save us, but to erase us." Footsteps now. Heavy, slow, deliberate. The hallway lights blinked once, then went red. Emergency mode. Ari's heart pounded. Her synthetic memories couldn't prepare her for this. No training, no simulation, just pure survival. Riven slid a panel open on the wall. Inside, 2 gas masks, flares, and a strange glowing device. "Take this," he said, handing her the device. EMP pulse. One-time use, short range. It won't kill it, but it'll buy us seconds. A shadow passed the hallway. They ducked, though the thing that moved was tall, wrong. Its limbs too long. Its eyes were lights, red and scanning. It wasn't a machine. It wasn't alive. It was somewhere in between. Ari's hand shook, the EMP ready. The reclaimer turned its head toward them, slowly. Its voice came in like a broken radio. Unauthorized human bioform detected. Purge initiated. Then it charged. Riven fired. Sparks flew. Ari threw the EMP. Boom. The lights exploded in white. The reclaimer screamed, static and metal grinding in pain. It staggered back, arms flailing. "Run!" Riven shouted. They sprinted through the bunker, past the photo room, past the oxygen tanks. The reclaimer followed, now enraged. Sparks flew from its body, but it was still coming. They reached the furnace room. Riven pulled open the waste chute. In here, they jumped down into darkness, landing hard on old pipes. Above, the reclaimer roared and tore at the walls. Ari coughed, bruised, bleeding. She looked at Riven. "We can't kill it?" "No," he said. "Not yet." He held up something in his hand, torn from the reclaimer's chest during the fight. It was a vial, glowing blue. Her name was written on the side. AR1. The Archive of Truth. The shelter had one rule. Never open the red door. Riven had warned her. Twice. Said it led to the past. Said the data inside could kill what was left of her. But Ari was done obeying shadows. She stood now in front of that red steel door, faded, dented, but still humming with power. It had no handle, no keypad. Just a smooth surface with one small word etched in silver, archive. She placed her hand on it. It recognized her. The door opened with a hiss of old secrets and stale air. Inside, a vault, round, dark, walls lined with dead screens, blinking servers, forgotten terminals wrapped in vines of wire and dust. This was no shelter room. This was a temple of the old world. Riven stepped in behind her, his voice low. "I told you not to come here." "I have to know," Ari said. "I need the truth." He didn't stop her. She moved to the central terminal. It flickered as she approached, green lines crawling across black glass. Then, subject AR1 recognized. "Welcome back." Ari's throat went dry. "I've never been here before," she whispered. The system replied. Memory corrupted, initiating fragment recovery. Files bloomed open like flowers of fire. Old footage, maps, names, and a man's face. Dr. Kellen Aras. Again. Same calm voice, same haunted eyes. "Project Genesis was our last hope," he said in the file. "If you're seeing this, it means AR1 survived. It means you made it through the extinction line." Riven sat down slowly, watching the past bleed into their present. "Earth is not gone," Aris continued. It's hidden. Buried beneath sand and silence, coordinates are encoded in your blood. Ari stared at her arms, her veins. The vial she took from the reclaimer began to glow softly in her bag. Wait, she said. Encoded? You were designed to find the city, said the file. To wake it, to lead it. The screen flashed red. Survivors detected. 237. Ari's heart jumped. She looked at Riven. There are people out there. Yes, he said. But they're scattered, sleeping, dying, waiting for someone like you. The map expanded, zooming into a jagged mountain range far beyond the dead zones. The glass mountains, she read aloud. Suddenly the lights went. Out again. Another voice. This one from deeper in the vault. Hi. Childlike. Help. They spun around. From a dark corner, a pod lit up. Cryo unit. Frozen mist spilled out as it powered on. Inside, a boy. No older than 10. Eyes still closed. Then, his eyes opened. He looked straight at Ari and whispered, You came back, and then he collapsed. The road to the glass mountains. The boy didn't remember his name, only 2 things. Ari was important. The glass mountains were calling. They left the shelter just before dawn. The sandstorm had passed, but the world wasn't. Calm, it was quiet in a way that felt wrong, like something huge had exhaled and was waiting to inhale again. Ari walked ahead, the boy beside her, Riven limping behind with his rifle strapped across his back. The shelter was gone now, buried, burned, sealed forever. Ahead of them lay the endless red horizon, and beyond that somewhere the glass mountains. No map worked out here. GPS was long dead, but the boy knew the way. He said the path was inside him. He spoke in strange fragments, like pieces of someone else's dream. Saw cities buried in crystal, he whispered one night, and a throne made of bones and light. Riven didn't trust him, said he talked like the dead. But Ari listened, because something in her, deep and real, recognized his voice, as if he'd spoken to her in another life. They crossed old roads cracked by earthquakes. Machines half buried in sand twitched as they passed. Satellite towers blinked at nothing. A drone buzzed overhead, scanned them, and flew off without a word. One evening they found a burned-out camp. Fresh prints, human ones, survivors. Ari followed the trail, found a message scratched into stone. The city sleeps beneath the glass. Wake her gently. That night the boy had another vision. He stood up in his sleep, eyes glowing faintly blue. She's almost ready, he said. The city is listening. The next morning the mountains appeared, jagged black teeth rising from the sand. Their edges shimmered like glass, sharp and unnatural, but at their base something waited, a ship. Human, new, not rusted, not dead. Ari approached, blade drawn. The ship powered on as she stepped near. Lights blinked, systems awoke. Dust lifted like breath. A voice spoke from inside. Soft, female, mechanical, but warm. AR-1 recognized, entry permitted. Riven froze. The boy grinned like he'd been here before. Ari stepped inside. The ship was alive, glowing with light and warmth. Not abandoned, prepared. And there in the center a circle of people stood. Human, pale, thin, eyes wide with hope and fear. One stepped forward. A woman, worn, fierce. She looked Ari up and down. We've been waiting for you, she said. You're not just a survivor, you're the signal. Humans weren't extinct after all. Ari stood in the center of the ship. Around her, humans. Not ghosts, not clones. Real people. They looked like survivors, but their eyes said something else. They were waiting for a leader. Riven leaned against the wall, wounded but alive. The boy sat near him, still humming strange melodies in his sleep. The woman who greeted them stepped closer. She wore a long coat made of scraps, stitched with symbols Ari didn't know, but felt. You were built to endure, the woman said, but also to guide. Ari didn't answer. She looked around, at the tech, at the walls of the ship, each etched with stories. Old Earth, the collapse, the hidden colonies, the escape plans that failed. Then, her name. AR-1, Last Light Initiative. She stared at the words. "This isn't a rescue ship," she said slowly. "It's a seed." The woman nodded. "We were meant to stay asleep until Earth healed, but we woke too early. Something called the Reclaimers started hunting us down. We've been running ever since." Ari walked to the command console. It blinked to life, recognizing her touch. "Command access granted." Suddenly, a map of Earth lit up. Broken continents, red zones, and then dots of green, pockets of life. Survivors. Just like the archive said, not all in one place. Not safe, but alive. She could feel it in her blood now. Data unlocking, instincts kicking in. She had been made for this. "I don't want to lead," she whispered. "You don't have to want it," the woman said. "You just have to start walking." Ari turned, looked at the boy, at Riven, at the people who had waited for something, someone, to pull the pieces of humanity back together. Maybe she wasn't just a clone. Maybe she was a message. Ari placed her hand on the final switch. "Activate global beacon." She hesitated, then pressed it. The ship shook slightly. The signal lit up the sky like a second sun. A voice carried through the world. "To anyone still breathing, we are not extinct. We are not broken. We are human, and we are coming home." Far. Away across the sand, old machines froze. Buried cities blinked awake. A signal pulsed through the dust. The Earth listened.